Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another WFA interview. Today, my guest is someone who has been at the forefront of Irish powerchair football for more than a decade and has extended his impact now to supporting the development of the game across Europe as the president of EPFA. I'm delighted to introduce Donal Byrne. Donal, hello, how are you?
Hi Adam, I'm good, thanks, and thanks to you and to the WFA for this invitation to speak on this platform.
Pleasure to have you. So, how are you and how are things over in Ireland at the moment?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Like everybody, it's been a really tough year, really strange year. We could never have envisaged what we were heading into in March. Yeah, like everybody, we're just trying to make a way through it, and hope that we're going to see some light at the end of the tunnel. If not, by the end of the year, into that 2021 will be a much better year.
Yeah, I think we hope that for everyone and every country across the board. So thank you for coming on. As I said, used today to speak to you about your experiences and your involvement within Powerchair football. So my first question is, what was your first introduction to Powerchair football?
Well, my first introduction, I suppose, my background. I had a kind of a graphic design background, an animation, cartoon. That was where I'd come from, and it was kind of a freelance role, and little security, little stability. So I done multimedia diplomas and that, and I was working in it, but I got a bit tired of the freelance side of things. So I saw a job locally here for a care support worker. Um, I had a friend who with a son with CP, so I had kind of experience in. I used to uh, when he'd be home for the summer from school, I used to take him out just to give the parents a bit of relief. So yeah, I kind of looked at that as I'm doing it in a certain way. So I said I might give this just go for this interview, and I got the job. So that was nearly 16 years ago, and it's an independent living service that I'm in. Um, I know sometimes some people think I work for the FAI. Sometimes people think I get paid for working for EPFA, but I do. That's my day job. I work in care. I'm a senior care now in this service. So even in COVID times, like we've had our difficulties in the service with COVID. So I'm used to daily PPE and everything at the moment. But within the service, then it's we our residents. There's 10 residents, and one day there was a job spare on in a local hotel, and two or three of us went along to it. And there was a stand from the local sports partnership, and they saw us at the fair, and they said we're going to be doing a 10-week introduction to Powerchair football. Would you like to take part? So the guys, already had a love for football, so they said yeah, sure, and it happened to be quite local to us. So we went along for the 10 weeks. It was the plastic box and the cable tie era. So but that didn't the passion was still there, immediately for the guys to play football, and 10 weeks, then they decided to extend it for a further 10 weeks, and it just took off from there. Then they kind of pulled out and left me holding the holding the can. But at that stage, I think I kind of had hooked on it then, we a local mainstream schoolboys club. We established a St. Joseph's Boys. We approached them, and they were happy to set up a Powerchair football team. And yeah, the rest is history. Was how that's how I got involved. And then around that time, then it was just making connections with other clubs that were taking place and forming around the country. At that stage, our National Football Association, FAI, they had been running taster days, but they were kind of ad hoc. Muscular Dystrophy Ireland as well. They had been introducing Powerchair football for quite a while, but at their summer camps and that. But there was no real structure. It was just happening here and there, and so then, yeah, we started to look at forming an association. We actually, the WFA and through the FAI had an invite for to come over, which they did in 2008, I think it was. A busload arrived to Limerick, and yeah, again, that was a further step towards us looking at how the WFA had their structure had been. So from that, then 2009, we set up the Association of Irish Powerchair Football. So, and at that stage, then it was just hands up, who wants to do what roles. So I said, well, I'll do the secretary role, and yeah, that's where I ended up.
You've been involved ever since.
Yeah.
Ah, fantastic. So, well, really, you've kind of been involved in Irish Powerchair football in its kind of embryonic stages to what it is now.
Yeah.
You know, and you must have seen a lot of well, you've definitely seen a lot of changes over the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
What does now with the AIPF? What does your role of secretary entail, and what are you doing?
I suppose it's just kind of it's the person who the day-to-day running of the association. So it's it's making sure the competitions are the league season is set out, and sorting out all the hire hall, the referees, and then just trying to continually push for more development, try and get more people involved, and just try to keep the kind of messages on social media and that going out, and just keep the interest there, and try and get more interest where we can. I think we probably don't have we probably still have the same. We wouldn't say we have any more clubs than we had back then, but we just have there's a different standard, there's a different progression, like with the whole players, and from how they look now, like they look such a more slick teams and everything, like, and it's just that kind of growth, and numbers are obviously, there's some clubs that are have only got their basic 4 players now, and a while back we did have numbers where some clubs had a one team or 2 teams, like, within the same club hub, but no, I mean it's still hugely popular here, and we're still making those gains and that progress, as you can see in the rankings and in tournaments, and that we've been moving up the scales.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those that don't know, how many clubs have you got within Ireland, and what's the structure there?
Well, we've got an 8 club team Premier League. So it's an All Ireland league. So we've 3 clubs in Northern Ireland, and the others are here. And we've also we have 3 you could say developing clubs out there, but it's it can take quite a long time just to get them from development to again down to equipment, and that up to being able to mix with the other clubs. Going back to what I said about the plastic boxes and the cable ties, like, it's it's not really the entry level experience you can have anymore, because it just doesn't have that kind of wow factor to actually having a player sit in a chair and take off.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that challenge now, isn't it, of, I suppose, trying to bridge that gap of kind of where the elite players are in Ireland now to when you're first starting out and having that positive experience, but also seeing some kind of correlation between kind of that initial experience and then what it could look like if someone enjoyed it and wanted
Yeah,
to pursue it further, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great stuff. And so you've been involved for well over a decade now for the AIPF, and then obviously a few years ago and I've known you for a long time now. Obviously, you then got involved with the European Powerchair Football Association.
Hmm.
So when was that, and what is the EPFA, and what do they do?
Yeah. Well, I think first time I met you was in Limerick in 2014, I think. So yeah, I mean that was kind of a big step for Ireland to host the inaugural EPFA Nations Cup. So that was, my first kind of dealings with EPFA. First of all, to kind of discuss with them about doing it, together with, and we did have massive support from the Football Association. It was a great partnership between the three, the ARPF, FAI, and EPFA. But yeah, that would have been my first kind of, I would have known the guys from the 2011 World Cup and that, but to actually work with them on an event, it was 2014, and we were all very pleased with the result. But yeah, so it was kind of having worked with them, and having got the experience of running an event of that size and that nature. Then I think the treasurer at that time, Julie, from France, she had stepped away, and I just said, is there something that I can offer to the role and to EPFA, and that kind of is where that started. But in terms of EPFA, like, I mean, we're the governing body of the European zone, so our objectives, it would be to grow the sport, and try and constantly contact new countries to get them involved, and then support the countries that are have come along in recent years. We can give advice and help with how to grow the national associations, and also then the practical of helping to train up officials and classifiers, and provide coaching clinics, and then competitions. You need to have somebody who administers the competition, makes them happen, and makes the sport end of things work. So yeah, competitions up for club and national teams is obviously a big part of EPFA, and yeah, again, just being that kind of support, and developing Europe to be one of the strong zones in the world game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know firsthand from some of the great work that EPFA have done in supporting countries. Can you give us just a little example of one country that EPFA supported in the recent years, and kind of some of the things that took place?
Well, I think probably Spain would be a good example. We've done a lot of work with Spain in terms of mentoring, training up the referees, but continuing to provide mentoring, so that don't just train them and leave, and you keep that kind of give them the experience of our referees, so that we can bring them up to a level, and then just again, just from being able to give past examples of how the more established national associations have done, same way as I said when Ireland was starting out, the great experience we got from having WFA over, and was great for us. So it's kind of giving the newer countries that kind of support as well, that this is what worked for us, and it's a good blueprint for them to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. I can recall similar experiences of traveling to places such as Finland and delivering
Yeah,
coaching courses there to support the development of their coaches
and
a few years ago, and seeing how they've evolved as another example.
yeah, and the other one, and you were there as well in Scotland, where we really blitzed them that time. We did referee, classifiers, and coaching all in the one weekend, which I think was a great one to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to showcase what the sport is all about, and offering kind of the different avenues and options for the countries to really get involved in to support not just what they're doing, obviously the playing side of it, but all the supplementary sides as well, which can help to support their country as a whole.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And EPFA are pretty unique as a zone in that they've actually got a really strong partnership with UEFA. Um, so can you tell everyone around a little bit around how that partnership was established and what that entails?
Yeah, yeah, we're really we're very lucky to have UEFA as a partner, and they are a really great partner. And what they've done for football for all throughout Europe is fantastic. They've done the blueprint really of how it should be, and yeah, I mean, and just a lot of credit goes to Nicolas Dubez, because he in the beginning it was him that had a chance meeting with a UEFA official. At the time, I think the program was only setting up or starting up, but his kind of enthusiasm and passion for powerchair football. The UEFA official asked Nico to send in a proposal, and back and forth happened, and we were lucky to be offered a place on this program. So ever since, and it's great because we're part of, well, obviously the funding is a big part of it, and it's it gives us an opportunity to do what we want to do, and to put it into the kind of supports that I just mentioned for new countries, and to just because hosting an event is now, there's a lot that goes into hosting an event, and for us to be able to support the host, because it's a big ask and I know that from hosting, it's a big ask from what you have to put in behind the whole event. So for us to be able to say, well, we'll be able to fund this and fund that, and it's but that's part of what UEFA can support us with, being able to do that. But like, we're part of a committee in UEFA, the FSR committee, and it brings us into contact then with amputee football, blind football, Cafe, which is we've developed a great relationship with them, and even some of the environmental charities and that. So it's a great kind of opportunity for us to network with other football, and yeah, I mean, it's just been great. We've had use of the headquarters in Neon when we've asked for could we use it for some of our referee clinics. We obviously every year, not this year unfortunately, but the Champions League Fan Festival gives us an opportunity to showcase the sport during that time. And then the ambassador program we used recently there was John Collins, who came along to our youth event in Scotland, and that was a great, and hopefully that's the ambassador program is something we'll tap into again. But yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic, and we just want hopeful that we remain in it. It comes up for review every 4 years of that, but I think what we've done. I think we've got a good standing in UEFA as well. So I think that partnership will hopefully continue in the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can all say that we hope that, because it just gives for that platform, it gives them a great link to be able to liaise with and utilize UEFA as a huge worldwide organization for football, obviously the funding to be able to support the development of the game, and those additional great little touches and features, like you say, using the ambassador program to call on someone to come in to say hello and just to see what powerchair football looks like, or to use the facilities for the courses and things like that. So long may that continue. And I think with the continued development of the game across Europe, then I can only see that partnership being a positive one and blossoming.
Yeah.
So you mentioned at the start of your answer around kind of that insight a little bit on running competitions at international level, and you and I know that there's a lot of work involved. So
Yeah.
obviously you've got that experience of both sides of the fence, in that you obviously initially did it from the AIPF point of view for the First Nations Cup over in Limerick, and then obviously the other side of being involved from EPFA's point of view. So for those that aren't aware, what is involved in running a competition to such a high standard?
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, the first, and it happened here, when we were talking about hosting is the site visit, because you need to kind of, go first and see, everything from where the game going to be played. Like, is there going to be enough runoff, on the court? Can we have a maximum size court? Like all these things, like, do you get an initial, when you walk into a hall, all those things kind of show straight away. Where are we going to do the speed test? Where are we going to do the classification? And those kind of, where meeting rooms for officials. Like, there's kind of a checklist now that we've done it so many times that we can. And I think we actually, you and I did a site visit to Finland for the 2019, and we had produced a checklist at that stage. So it was, and I know we were both looking at each other when we first walked into that arena, because it was just it was gobsmacking, just the size of it. And we knew that everything, would be there, that we could just was going through the checklist like so quick. But, but yeah, those things with live stream, where's the live stream? Will the all those questions have to be asked? Will the Wi-Fi be able to take the live stream? And then that's the sports side of things. But the accommodation, years ago I can remember events, you were lucky if maybe 2-3 rooms were accessible, and you were looking at sharing accessible bathrooms, between 7, 8, maybe more. But I think now, even with our events, like, the kind of standards have gone up, and the expectation that, if players are going to be asked to perform, they need to be, given accommodation where they get a good night's sleep. So that, when we go to do site visits, like, that's a big important part of where people going to be staying, and is it going to be too far from where they're playing to the venue? All those things have to be taken into account, and even with the food, like, is everyone going to be able to eat at the same time? Is it going to be a phased eating? And so all those things before you can kind of see shape on the event, and then once that's done, then you just start working with the local organizing committee. And then you're working with the head of referees to make sure the referees are chosen and ready, the classifiers, and then you're working with the teams, a lead from the teams, and because you've been in that position with having to do quite detailed forms and things that people have to fill out about from their team sheets or from their delegation lists, and then you're dealing with quite often you're dealing with extra delegation, people wanting to bring more people, and so there's quite a logistical side to it, and that's not even before you get to the actual competition, where the sports side has to kick in, then that everything is all the regulations, rules, and everything is being being met, and yeah, so there's quite a volume of work from the initial yeah, we were going to host this event to the to the closing ceremony of that event.
Yeah, I can concur completely. There are many weeks and months of planning and organization that goes into running kind of those big level international events. So
Well, I think we've been blessed, with the likes of Finland, Denmark, hosted two great Champions Cups, and yeah, we're hopeful then of when we go out looking for hosts for future competitions that on the back of the experience we've had, and when people have gone to events then as well, they kind of think, oh, maybe we could host something like this. So
yeah, absolutely. I completely agree that every event that we've been to and supported and organized has been from a local organizing committee point of view has been fantastic, whether it's Nations Cup with yourselves or over in Finland, and then obviously the Champions Cups that have taken place so far over in Denmark have all been excellent, and their local organizing committees have been a credit to
yeah,
the sport.
absolutely.
So then, many memories, many different events. Do you have any favorites within
Um,
that?
yeah, well, I suppose I have different favorites for different reasons. I suppose, for on an Ireland level, going to the World Cup in 2011, like we were only out of short pants, you could say, in football terms, but we were determined to get there. I can remember packing a small van with the Ireland coach at the time, Liam McDonough, vertically putting storm chairs up to pack them all into, and he was the one that was driving across France to get to Paris. So we were going there very green, but to get there and to be part of it was great. And it's kind of, that's the building experience from being there. Suffering quite heavy defeats, but building on that then and improving for the next one. Um, Florida again. Florida was it was again a very stressful. On the other side of hosting an event, actually getting to an event that's quite a distance away, that's another kind of logistical stress. Getting the sports chairs over there, like that went on for months, and eventually, like we were looking at one stage we were looking at shipping them and being faced with a bill of astronomical amounts of money, like just to get them transported. And luckily we did get them eventually. But yeah, to get a team there and get a team back and be still in one piece, that was a good memory. 2014, obviously, to have put on an event that was so well received, that was a good highlight. But I think also just going down to even the youth camp that we did in Coimbra in I think it was 2015, but that was a fantastic time with Pika and Brahim, and that was my first time I'd met Rosie and Owen Swift and Mallory and Federus, and but that was a great, like those kind of camps that we've done in the past. I wasn't in F at that time. I was on the other side, but they were great, and kind of a mix of football and the social interaction was great. And I have to say, when we do those camps, we do them well. Like, and I think everybody
Absolutely.
really enjoys them. And it's just trying to, and we did have two planned for this year, and but yeah, it's something that at least one we will do every year, if not two, and that would be our plan. And again, as I say, different memories. But Finland, I think, was another great another great achievement, another great step up. When you see the color of the teams when they're lined up there and the national anthems are playing, like it just looks like football that you see, in the Nations League. Like, so it's those kind of things are what I really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every year, different competitions year on year, there's kind of those additions of touches that just increase the quality and the level that is delivered and what and what is seen on screen now for spectators to watch as well. So every year has been an improvement, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
Fantastic. So then, obviously where we are and everything has been, postponed and pushed back for this year. If we're looking ahead to a brighter and a more positive future, what are EPFA's plans for the next couple of years and some of the different events that you want the association to be leading on?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the last few days we've been hearing all about the vaccine, and let's hope that is going to be the big contributor to us getting back to normal. I don't really see. I think domestically we need to get everyone's leagues back playing, so I don't really see. Let's hope that happens into the early part of the new year. And we need, before we can look at our kind of big events again, that we see travel being able to be safe again. But let's hope that's going to happen. So yeah, I mean, we probably will look at maybe doing some more online engagement over the next few months. Wal's already kind of looked at maybe doing some webinars. I know you guys in the WFA have done them on a national level, but we'd maybe look to do something that we can bring other countries together for something like that. Maybe we did do a workshop in Dublin a number of years ago, and maybe we could look to do something again online in the early part of the year with the NOFs and maybe with a player-based one as well. So we're looking at things like that. Obviously, the Champions Cup is still our hope that we can have that rescheduled in Geneva. The youth camps, again, as I say, we'd like to do at least one every year, if not two. So they just kind of slot into place where we can put them. The Home Nations was a development tournament and that should have been in October, just gone. So again, we would look to see could we do that again in October 2021. And then like we have a lot of requests still for clinics, for referees, for classifiers, for coaches, in Italy and Austria and Spain and Germany. And I think that for me is probably one of the most exciting things still to come is those kind of countries like Italy and Germany and Spain, like real powerhouses in mainstream football, but to have them come into our international setup, that really excites me a lot, because all three of those countries are at the same kind of level now. They're all pushing to start their national programs, and I just think it's going to be great just to see the color of those countries mixed with the countries that we have. We did have, and we do have plans to have a tournament, a second Nations Cup for the countries that are not going to the World Cup, for if we 7 to 8 countries, and I think that would be a really fabulous tournament, just on that kind of level of developing nations, just to purely without any of the kind of big hitters in there, but just I think it would be a very equal tournament, and to see what levels those countries are at, and what they can achieve as well. And again, as we grow, we're going to need more kind of competitions to qualify from into our, because if we grow to 15, 16, 17 countries, we probably can't host like a Nations Cup with 17 countries. So we're going to have to look at having feeder competitions that you qualify from to the main event. So You know, we had hoped to have that competition next year, but I would be hopeful that we can, if things come back to normal, that we can have that in the same year as the World Cup in 2022. And I'd also like to look at another second kind of club competition as well, because we have our Champions Cup, but just to have another one, a second one, because the length of time of those competitions coming around, I think we need to provide elite competition as often as we can, just to keep the standard very high, and to have a standard that the other clubs and need to kind of push themselves to reach. And I think it will be good for everybody. Obviously the Next Nations Cup, that's down the line, but it's still, we did send out a document recently to all the NOFs, and we're looking for hosts right now, like, so that we can have that plan in place and be ready, and that people know in advance where the next one will be. The Football for All Leadership Program, and again, that's something that like UEFA, it's turned out to be a great partnership for us. The great work that Kieran Burns has done with his podcasts, and Lewis from Scotland, he was the first one that we sponsored, and then Owen and Brad, and it's been a great partnership, and it's something that we would hope that we every year that it's run, that we would have at least two or three from the Powerchair football family on that. So yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is going to be finding the slots in the calendar. When you go to sit down, 12 months can seem quite a kind of a short
absolutely
window of where you can fit all these things in, but it's a good place to be in if we're back and able to look at that in that way, that we're not talking about coronavirus, we're talking about events, and where we're going to put them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everyone's got their fingers crossed that it can move back to normality, and football can resume, and all being well, it's certainly going to be a busy calendar for the next few years for isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. So a little bit, just want to touch on there. You mentioned the leadership program, which is obviously targeted at some of our younger players. Can you give a little bit of information into that, and kind of how EPFA got involved in the successes that we've had?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was set up by it's run by Integrated Dreams, which again, this was something that Jose he had worked in the past with FIFA, and then he set up this kind of program. He had this vision of a kind of how can we get more people involved in getting jobs in football from the disability world, and he actually came over to Dublin. Initially, they had a plan of I think it was 3 different weeks in 3 different cities. One was going to be Dublin, one was going to be in Lisbon, and the other was going to be in Berlin. But in the end, then it just the costs of having it in 3 different attached with 3 different universities, but it kind of went then to being in Portugal, a week-long event of again, I've touched base with him on the 2 ones that have happened. I've sat in on some of the lectures, and the speakers that they attract has been fantastic. But yeah, so basically it's run over a week. You've got guest speakers. You come to the leadership program with an idea for a project. which they help you with to try and hone it down to something that that they're happy with and that they think will work well. You bring that, there's usually about 16 to 20 other participants on it. They've done all sorts of things. They've done site visits to Sporting Lisbon, and they've had some great speakers from the football world, from FIFA, all coming in. And then they have a kind of a mentoring workshop where you present your idea in front of a panel of experts, and they give you feedback, and so then you basically over the next 9 months you implement your project, which again I'd say Kieran has really taken his to great heights. Went from a fortnightly podcast to a weekly one now, and he's attracted some fabulous guests. A great one there last time with John Boulding, and he's got his own sponsor now, and it's just really taken off for him. But it's just great to have had, and we've had a couple of other participants who have just done it themselves. Initially we looked at sponsoring one player, and there was 2 other participants on that leadership program: Jason Browning from Northern Ireland and Marcus Fritsch from Austria. And it was so successful that we looked at just increasing the sponsorship, and again, I think based on how successful it was, like the next time we do it, and hopefully again, it will be a physical leadership program next year, next October, and we definitely will be sending out details, and how we've done it in the past. We've just sent out what it is and asked people to send us why they should be sponsored by EPFA to do the program. So again, that's probably what we'll do, but I think we'll hopefully get a big response again, and we'll be. I know the leadership program themselves are delighted that Powerchair is represented so much, like, and again at the moment, because of the pandemic situation, they've been doing football talks. They've had a number every Monday. I was invited to be on one myself. I know Kieran, he's going to be a guest speaker on one coming up, and again they're attracting great people to speak, and they're really growing as a project as well. So from that first kind of initial discussion with Jose in Dublin, and I was delighted that we could support him at the beginning as well, and be part of his success. So it's another great thing for EPFA to be in partnership with.
Absolutely. And I, for those that haven't seen, thoroughly recommend checking out Kieran's podcast as well, because he's got, as you say, a variety of guests on there talking about a variety of different things, and it's great to see that from that a project that was something that started off small and has grown into something to be what it is now. So credit to him, and for people that haven't seen it, they can check it out online. Donal, finally, where can people find out more information about EPFA and the association? Where's the best places to visit?
Well, the website you can visit, EuropeanPFA.com, our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. One of the things that did come out of COVID in June was starting the EPFA News, which is another one should be out shortly, but every 7 to 10 days, and it has been difficult. I'll put my hand up, without much activity. It's been kind of knocking on doors and, please, will you give us some video contribution, because I was delighted when Denmark started their league that we could actually show some kind of Powerchair football action. But I think it has been well received. It's getting great coverage, great views, and now when I go and ask somebody, and it's happened quite a lot recently, people are delighted to make their video contribution now, and it's something that I hope will grow, and as we get back to action, that it'll become a good tool to just to showcase visually what's going on in all around Europe. But yeah, that's on YouTube as well. And yeah, and if anyone ever wants to get in touch with EPFA, just get in touch with ourselves, and any ideas, or just want to know new information or that. I mean, just going back to the Football for All talk that I was on, there was questions coming in from India and Uganda and Tanzania about how to set up powerchair football. So it's just those kind of chance opportunities to make contact with new countries, and that's what it's all about. It's getting the message out there and giving the opportunity to people to play.
Yeah, raising the profile of who we are and what we do. And I already recommend the EPFA News videos. It's great to get updates from all the different countries, because in one place, because obviously where countries provide updates possibly through their own websites or their own social media, unless you're going to look for those updates from those respective countries, then you're not going to know what's going on. So to house something all in one place, for 20 minutes to half an hour, to give updates of what is going on, I think it is great, and it's brought EPFA and the countries that are involved closer together, I think, which is great for the established countries to see what's going on in the developing countries, and vice versa for the developing countries to get to know more about the established countries, and the participants and the level of activity. So I think from EPFA's point of view, EPFA News has been a great addition to what you bring, and has been really enjoyable to watch. So it's a great piece of work.
Yeah, I think it also just on another level, it shows other players and that they have outside interests, and it's just fun to tap into to see what they're doing. Like we've had people, poets, and painters, and that they have other sides to what they do. But it's nice to just tap in, and but it's also just a good platform. We've very articulate players, and you see that coming out when you give them the opportunity, when you give them the platform. It's just a great way of seeing the people that you might just see in photographs or that, but to actually hear them talk, and what they have to say, I think is a great asset.
Yeah, absolutely. And long may that continue.
You'll have to appear on it yourself one of these days, Adam.
Oh, okay. Look forward to that then. We'll speak after this then.
Okay.
Brilliant. Donal, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated. Great to get a little bit of insight into obviously your background and your history, and EPFA, and what they do to support the game and to grow the game across Europe. So, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully in the flesh sometime soon. And thank you once again.
I hope so. Thank you, Adam. Thanks a million.